In 1995, Los Angeles lost both its NFL teams in the same year. For over 2 decades, the second biggest sports market in America had absolutely nothing. Then, one billionaire secretly bought a dead racetrack and spent $5.5 billion of his own money building something on it that the world had never seen before. What followed was secret land deals, billion-dollar lawsuits, and a building that is right now being transformed for the FIFA World Cup. Just the latest chapter in a story that keeps getting bigger. This is the full story of SoFi Stadium. Let's get into it. For over 20 years, Los Angeles, the second biggest city in America, had no NFL team. In 1995, both the Rams and the Raiders left the city within months of each other. And just like that, the biggest sports market in the United States was completely empty. For the NFL, a league built entirely on television money and market size, this wasn't just embarrassing, it was a massive financial problem they struggled to fix for nearly 2 decades. They kept trying throughout the 2000s and early 2010s. Multiple proposals came and went, and the most serious one was in Carson, California, where the Chargers and Raiders actually teamed up to push a shared stadium plan together. Despite early momentum, that plan collapsed too, just like every other attempt before it. Nobody could get past the politics and the sheer difficulty of building a modern stadium in Los Angeles. Then, Stan Kroenke did something nobody else had thought to do. While everyone else was chasing public funding and government approvals, he quietly went and bought the land himself, nearly 300 acres in Inglewood, the old Hollywood Park racetrack site that had shut down in 2013, sitting empty in one of the most densely developed cities in the country. It was a rare opportunity that gave him complete control from day one, and he moved on it before anyone else even realized what was happening. Court documents later revealed that Kroenke told the NFL commissioner directly, "We're going to try very hard to stay under the radar, and nobody will know we bought it." What truly separated Kroenke from every failed attempt before him was how he chose to pay for it. Every other stadium proposal in NFL history leaned heavily on taxpayer funding, but Kroenke decided to finance the entire development himself. The original estimate sat at around $2.6 billion, but as the design grew more ambitious and the vision expanded well beyond just a stadium, that number kept climbing. By the time construction was finished, the total cost had reached $5.5 billion, making it the most expensive stadium ever built in history, funded entirely without a single dollar of public money. The move didn't come without serious consequences either. Lawsuits allege that Kroenke and the NFL knew as early as 2013 that the Rams were heading to Los Angeles, but kept publicly denying it the entire time. Kroenke's official relocation document went even further, openly criticizing St. Louis and questioning whether the city could even support its other sports teams, let alone an NFL franchise. The legal battle that followed dragged on for years and ultimately ended in a $790 million settlement, one of the largest in the history of American sports. He paid nearly $1 billion in consequences and still considered it the right decision. In 2016, NFL owners officially approved the move by a vote of 30-2, and not long after, the Chargers joined as a second tenant, turning this into the only stadium outside New York shared by 2 NFL teams at the same time. But even that was just the beginning, because Kroenke's plan was never simply about bringing football back to Los Angeles. It was about building an entire district, sports, entertainment, offices, homes, and parks, all in one connected place, on land that everyone else had written off. The stadium was only the centerpiece of something far larger, and that is exactly where the real story begins. But turning that vision into reality came with a problem nobody had fully solved before. The site in Inglewood sits directly under the flight path of Los Angeles International Airport, just 3 miles away, and federal aviation rules strictly limit how tall any structure in that zone can be built. For a project that was supposed to become one of the most iconic venues in the world, that restriction threatened to kill the entire vision before a single brick was laid. So the engineers made a decision that changed everything about how this stadium would be built. Instead of scaling the project down to meet the height limit, they went underground. The playing field was sunk nearly 100 feet below street level, carved deep into the earth, turning the entire structure into a massive bowl dug into the ground. It solved the height problem instantly, but created an entirely new set of challenges that were just as difficult. Excavating that deep meant removing millions of cubic yards of dirt, managing groundwater that could flood the entire lower structure if not controlled properly, and engineering the whole building to withstand earthquakes on top of everything else. This was no longer just a construction project. It was one of the most complex engineering challenges ever attempted for a sports venue. Above that sunken bowl, the roof became something the world had genuinely never seen. A gigantic translucent canopy spanning nearly 3 million square feet, made up of 302 ETFE panels. A lightweight, transparent material that allows natural light through while protecting fans from heat and weather. But unlike most stadiums, this roof doesn't sit on the building. It floats above it, supported by huge columns and cables. And with 46 panels that can open, it lets cool ocean air flow through naturally without needing air conditioning. Because the building sits right under LAX's flight path, the designers did something no stadium team had ever thought to do. They treated the roof as a fifth elevation, a 13-acre LED display, visible to every passenger flying into Los Angeles, stretching the equivalent of 6.5 city blocks of screen seen from above. This stadium was designed to be experienced from the sky. Inside, the stadium holds 70,000 fans for NFL games, but expands to over 100,000 for major events, with upper decks, mid-level suites, and field-level clubs that put fans closer to the action than any other NFL stadium. Wide-open concourses run throughout the building, so fans can move freely without ever losing sight of the field, something older stadiums never managed to get right. And at the center of it all, suspended from the roof, is a double-sided 4K video board spanning 120 yards and covering 70,000 square feet, bigger than the playing field underneath it. Outside, landscaped parks, open plazas, and a man-made lake were woven into the design. So arriving at SoFi feels less like pulling up to a sports venue and more like walking into an entire destination. The game is just one part of something much larger, and that larger world built around this stadium is exactly what we are getting into next. When SoFi Stadium opened in 2020, it wasn't the finish line, it was the starting gun. For the first time in over 2 decades, the Los Angeles Rams were back in the city they had left behind, sharing a stadium with the Chargers and stepping into a venue specifically built to host the biggest moments in sport. That promise was tested almost immediately. In 2022, Super Bowl 56 came to Inglewood. The Rams didn't just play in it, they won it, becoming one of the very few teams in NFL history to win a championship on their own home field. It was exactly the kind of moment Kroenke had built this place for, and it announced SoFi Stadium to the world in a way no marketing campaign ever could. But football was always just the anchor, not the ceiling. The stadium was engineered from the beginning to transform depending on what was being asked of it. Concerts, international broadcasts, global sporting events. That flexibility wasn't an afterthought. It was a core part of the design, and it's already shaping what comes next. In 2026, the FIFA World Cup arrives in North America, and Los Angeles is one of its marquee host cities. SoFi Stadium will host matches, but doing so comes with strict conditions. The corporate naming rights get stripped away, the stadium operates under a neutral identity, and the entire field configuration gets adjusted to meet FIFA's global standards, swapping American football geometry for the dimensions the rest of the world plays on. Then comes something even larger. In 2028, the Olympic Games return to Los Angeles for the first time since 1984. SoFi Stadium will anchor the opening and closing ceremonies alongside the historic Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, a venue that has hosted 2 previous Olympics and carries nearly a century of history inside its walls. One represents where the games have been, the other represents where they're going. But the most significant transformation isn't happening on the field, it's happening on every side of the building. The stadium sits at the center of a multi-billion-dollar district, rising from the same land that was once an abandoned racetrack. Homes, offices, retail, hotels, parks, and entertainment spaces are being woven together into a place designed to operate every single day, not just on game days. This wasn't built to be a destination you drive to a few times a year. It was built to be a neighborhood. For Inglewood, the effects are already visible. Investment is pouring in, new development is rising across the area, and a community that spent decades on the margins of Los Angeles is now drawing global attention. But that growth hasn't come without friction. Rising property values and displacement concerns have followed the development closely, and those conversations are becoming just as much a part of the stadium's story as the championships and the ceremonies. That tension is what makes SoFi Stadium more than just an impressive building. It's a real-world test of how modern sports venues actually work. What was once an abandoned racetrack has been transformed into the center of one of the most ambitious developments in modern sports. And in many ways, it's still only just beginning. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.